Thank you very much for being here. We're going to talk just briefly about the wildfires that have sort of taken over our country because of bad management. Very well-known people are standing behind me. They're going to say a few words as to what they're doing with respect to response on wildfires and stopping wildfires due to proper management, proper forest management. And I just want to thank you all for being, and maybe forest. And they don't have forest fires. And in one case, he said, you know, our trees are much more flammable than California, but we don't have forest fires because we clean the floor, we sweep the floor of leaves, of dead debris, of trees that fall, because after 18 months, a tree is like it's like tinder wood, and it goes up, it virtually explodes. Well, we don't take the trees out. California is a disaster, what they've done in California. They don't do anything. And if you did, you almost would not have forest fires. And you could say in theory, you shouldn't have any forest fires. And we spend billions and billions of dollars a year because people don't clean the forests. And we're going to clean the forests. We're going to start cleaning them. We're going to get rid of dead wood. The environmentalists say, oh no, let it regenerate. It doesn't regenerate. It just sits there and it usually catches fire. And we're going to have a whole new system, and it's called forest management. And if you look at some of these countries in Europe and other places that literally live in forests, very flammable forests, and they don't have problems. And they call me, they don't even know how it's possible that we can have the fires that we have. And the people behind me know that very well, and we're going to start working on that system. And we're going to save a lot of trees. We're also going to cut down trees and replant new trees, and that whole industry is going to be growing because we don't need the help of anybody. We have just about more, or as much, but more than almost anybody else in terms of lumber and wood. So we're going to be doing some great work having to do with forest fires. It's going to start effective, really it started a few months ago, and it's forest management. And Doug, I think you're really the head of that. Interiors, I guess you're the largest landlord perhaps anywhere in the world, I understand. That's a nice position. You may want to just give a few words on the cleaning of the floor of the forests.
Well, happy to do that. And of course, as President Trump had said, yes, between Interior and Forest Service, it was just part of USDA, 700 million acres of surface area, much of that is in forest land. That is a tremendous resource. It's part of America's balance sheet. When we let it burn, then we actually...
And we have it in great shape. We're not playing around.
How will you determine whether or not there is an insurrection?
Well, you'll take a look at what's happening. I mean, I could tell you there were certain areas of Los Angeles that you could have called it an insurrection. It was terrible. But these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They get money. And when you take a look at what they do, where they show up, and everyone's saying, what's he doing? He's pounding the curbs. This one guy's pounding the curb, breaking the curb, and handing big pieces of granite, in some cases it's granite and concrete to other people, and they're running out with it, and then we watch the other people, and they try and throw it into the face of the soldiers, throw it into the face of the police, and they hurt some people very badly. They go up on bridges, they drop it down on the cars as the cars are moving. They're not breaking the curb because they're doing a demolition service. They're breaking it to hand out to people as a weapon. It's bad stuff. I've never seen that before.
Mr. President, how soon do you want to see FEMA eliminated? And what's your message to the governors about how much more of an expense is going to fall to states?
Yeah, well, it's not going to be so much the states. We're going to give out less money. We're going to give it out directly. It'll be from the president's office. We'll have somebody here. Could be Homeland Security, but we're going to give it out through a method where it's given out. As an example, I just gave out $71 million to a certain state. They were looking to do about 120. They were very happy with the 71 million. We did a little cutting, and they were very happy with it. So we're going to do it much differently. We think after this, Christy, I'd say after the hurricane season, we'll start phasing it.
Yes, sir. You set up a FEMA council over the next couple of months. We'll be working on reforms and what FEMA will look like in the future as a different agency, as under the Department of Homeland Security to the president's vision, and it will empower governors to go out.
That's what a governor, governor should be able to handle it. And frankly, if they can handle it, the aftermath, then urban starts hammering pieces out, has all the equipment necessary, and starts handing it out to people. to use as a weapon. These are paid insurrectionists or agitators or troublemakers. You can call it whatever you want. And we ended it, and we have in custody some very bad people. Some very bad people.
Mr. President.
Did you see the guy throwing the rocks at the police cars as they went by and crushing their windows and endangering our police? We're not going to let that happen, yeah.
Pardon me, Mr. President, on those Marines, Governor Newsom has described them as political pawns. I'm curious for your reaction to that and what you see as the Marines' role and what are their rules of engagement?
All I want is safety. I just want a safe area. We have, Los Angeles was under siege until we got there. The police were unable to handle it. You can speak to the chief. He said it on television 3 nights ago. He said, this is more than we can handle. They said that. And the LA police, I know a lot of the police in LA, they're great people, but they're given instructions not to do this, not to do that. But in this case, it's usually radical left, and it's usually governors that are Democrat, and they don't want to call them in. They don't want to save lives. They don't want to save property. They don't want to call them in. I don't know what it is. We sent them in, not early, we sent them in late as far as I'm concerned. But big problems, as you know, 3 nights ago, big problems were ensuing. If we didn't send in the National Guard quickly, right now, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground.
The Marines is, a lot of people think, an escalatory step, though. These are guys who fight wars. Are you at all concerned that things could get out of hand with Marines
when I see
in
people
American City?
Throwing concrete into cars, when I see people, the kind of people that I saw on your network doing danger to the police and to the military and to the National Guard, no, it's okay. You know, you start running out of people. When you have 2,000 people from a National Guard standpoint, we have a very big military. But the National Guard, they needed a little extra help. And we sent them a little, and we did a great job last night. We had, well, you got a lot of cars go up in smoke and flame. We just did a number on the wallet of the people of California. That train, you should look at that train. That is the greatest, I've never seen cost overruns. I've seen cost overruns and great incompetence over my life. I've never seen anything like that.
Mr. President, these protests obviously started in reaction to these large-scale ICE operations in Los Angeles. Should people expect to see similar operations in the rest of the country?
Yeah.
And will similar protests see similar response?
As you know, we're moving murderers out of our country that were put here by Biden or the auto pen. The auto pen really did. I mean, the people, whether it's Lisa Monaco or whoever operated the auto pen, these are criminals. The people are criminals that allowed these criminals into our country. And I don't think that Biden knew what the hell he was doing. I don't think he even knew about it. But when they opened up our borders for the whole world to come in, yeah, we're going to get them out. We're getting them out. We're starting to get acknowledgement from the courts that, you know, there's a system. They come in without courts and they go out, they want trials and everything else. I think that's starting to work out now. Judges are starting to see and it looks like a planned disaster, this didn't just happen. They had weapons, they had tools, they had everything you needed. I mean, they were throwing iced water in bottles, in glass bottles at soldiers. These are, you could not use the word insurrection, but you could also use the word, these are very dangerous people, they're bad people. They were met with heavy force and they folded. And they may be there a little bit tonight, they may be there a little bit, but it seems to be getting less and less because they're going there and they're met with a very heavy force. And if they weren't, you would have that city right now would be on fire. It would be burning down. The rest of it, what's left over, because the other fire was started because they wouldn't allow water into LA. They wouldn't allow water into California because they had it all shifted out to the Pacific Ocean. And I went in my first term and they didn't do it. We had COVID and they didn't do it. And I told them to do it. We did it in the second. Now we have billions of gallons of water flowing down. But Newsom should have done this. He's an incompetent man and an incompetent governor. Okay, any other questions?
Mr. President, any message to adversaries as the Army kicks off 250-year birthday celebration?
I just think it's amazing. We're going to have a fantastic June 14th parade, Flag Day. It's going to be an amazing day. We have tanks, we have planes, we have all sorts of things. And I think it's going to be great. We're going to celebrate our country for a change. You know, recently, as you know, with World War II, we're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester who wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force.
Mr. President, one last
Thank
question
you very
on
much,
California.
everybody.